If you're over 60, I'm going to tell you something uncomfortable. Most people don't suddenly lose independence. They lose it quietly, one small moment at a time. One day you grab the table to stand up, then you avoid stairs, then you walk slower to be safe. And without noticing, your legs start listening to that message. We don't need power anymore. And here's why that's dangerous. It doesn't feel like a big problem at first. It feels like a preference. You tell yourself, I'm just being careful. You choose the elevator, you sit a little longer. You carry fewer things in one trip. You wait for someone else to bring the heavy bag. It's subtle, it's reasonable, and that's exactly why it works against you. Let me tell you a story that hits close to home. A man in his early 70s wrote, I didn't think I was weak. I thought my house was just poorly designed. He blamed the low couch. He blamed the slippery bathroom floor. He blamed the stairs. But one day he visited his daughter, sat on a chair that wasn't even low, and still had to push with both hands to stand up. He said, that's when I realized it wasn't the furniture. It was me. That moment of honesty is powerful because it's also the moment you can change direction. So let's test your legs in 30 seconds. Sit on a sturdy chair, cross your arms, and stand up and sit down 5 times. If you needed your hands, if you rocked your body to build momentum, or if your knees collapsed inward, that's your warning sign. It's not shame, it's information. Now, I want to be clear about something. This test is not a label. It's a starting point. I've seen people fail it on Monday and improve by Friday just by practicing the right pattern. Your body is not done, it's just undertrained in the skills that matter most. Here are the rules that keep you safe. Sharp pain is a stop sign. Dizziness is a sit-down sign. And holding a counter is not cheating, it's smart progression. And I want to add one more rule that a physical therapist told a patient, and it stuck with me. He said, we train confidence first. Strength comes after. Because if you're scared, you hold your breath, you tense up, you move stiff, and you avoid the very movements your body needs to relearn. So we're going to build confidence by making everything stable, controlled, and repeatable. Now listen carefully. I'm not giving you random leg exercises. I'm giving you the 5 missing skills that protect older adults. Lifting the knee, controlling one leg balance, building hip support, strengthening the backside of the legs, and training a clean stand-up without momentum. That's the entire system. Before we even get into the exercises, let me paint a picture of what these skills actually protect you from. Not the dramatic stuff you see on TV, the real-life stuff. The curb outside the grocery store, the wet tile near the sink, the narrow step into a bus, the moment you turn too fast because someone calls your name. These are moments where you don't have time to think. Your legs have to respond automatically. That's what we're training. Now let me give you a short story from a doctor's office. An older woman went in and said, "Doctor, I'm fine, I just feel unsteady." The doctor didn't start with medication. He asked her to stand up from a chair without using her hands. She couldn't. He said, "This is the part we fix first. Because when you can't rise cleanly, everything else becomes harder. You walk differently, you shuffle, you avoid bending, and your balance gets worse because you stop trusting yourself." That's why exercise 1 is the clean chair rise, but not the classic one. This is the silent stand. Sit tall, feet under you, arms crossed. Stand up without swinging your arms or throwing your chest forward. Pause. Sit down slowly and quietly. If you slam into the chair, you went too fast. Do 5 slow reps. Rest. Do 5 more. And I want you to notice something while you do this. Notice if one knee tries to drift inward. Notice if you have to lean to one side. Notice if you hold your breath. These are not failures. These are clues. They show you where control is missing. Here's a real example. A 68-year-old viewer told us, "I always leaned to my right when I stood up, and I never noticed until I watched myself in a mirror." When she practiced the silent stand, she realized her left leg was doing less work. After a couple of weeks, she said standing up felt even, like her body wasn't twisting anymore. That's the kind of change that protects your back, your hips, and your knees. Now, exercise 2 is marching in place, but with a pause. Hold a chair lightly, lift one knee and hold it for 1 second at the top. Lower slowly, switch sides. Do this for 40 seconds. Rest, repeat once. Why does this matter? Because walking is a series of single leg moments. Every step is a tiny balance test. The older we get, the more we try to rush through those moments to get them over with. The pause forces control. It tells your hips and core, you're back on duty. Here's a small story that explains it perfectly. A man said, "I don't fall when I'm walking straight. I fall when I turn or when I'm distracted." That's common. Straight walking can become automatic, but turning, stepping around obstacles, or carrying something forces your body to manage weight shifts. Marching with a pause trains weight shifts in a safe place. Now, exercise 3 is heel-to-toe walking, but with eyes forward. Most people look down, and that makes balance worse. Keep your eyes forward, breathe slowly, and take 10 slow steps. Turn and take 10 back. If you wobble, lightly touch the wall and continue. I want to tell you the why here in plain language. Balance is not only muscles, it's the communication between your eyes, your inner ear, your feet, and your brain. When you look down, you often tense your neck and hold your breath. Your body becomes stiff. Stiff bodies don't balance well. Eyes forward, calm breath, slow steps. This is how you train the system. Now let me share a real-life moment that this fixes. Imagine you're walking in a crowded place and you glance sideways for 1 second. That tiny head turn can throw off your balance if your system is weak. Heel-to-toe walking, done safely near a wall, rebuilds your ability to stay steady while your head and eyes move. Now, exercise 4 is the glute bridge with a squeeze. Lie down, bend knees, feet flat. Lift your hips, squeeze your glutes like you're trying to hold a coin, hold 2 seconds, and lower for 3 seconds. Do 8 reps, rest, do 8 more. This one is huge because so many people blame their knees for everything, when the real problem is the hips and backside are asleep. If your glutes are weak, your knees take extra stress when you stand, climb, or step down. Strong glutes make your knees feel supported. Here's a story from a physical therapist that I love. He said, "When older adults say my knees feel unstable, half the time they're describing weak hips. Not broken knees, weak hips. And the bridge is one of the safest ways to wake that up because you're on the floor, stable, and in control." Now, exercise 5 is the side leg raise with toes forward. Hold a chair. Keep toes pointing straight ahead. Lift the leg to the side, slowly, then lower, slower than you lifted. Do 10 each side, 2 sets. This exercise trains the muscle group that stops the hip drop that makes you feel unsteady when you walk. If you've ever watched someone's hips sway side to side when they walk, that's often not style. It's weakness. And weakness here creates the feeling of wobbling, especially when you're tired. Let me give you another real situation. Many older adults say, "I'm fine in the morning, but worse in the evening." That's because fatigue reveals weak stabilizers. The side leg raise builds those stabilizers so fatigue doesn't steal your balance. Now here's the part that changes everything. For the next 14 days, you don't need motivation. You need a schedule that's too small to fail. On days 1 through 3, do only exercise 1 and 4. That's it. 2 exercises, less than 5 minutes. On days 4 through 7, add exercise 2. In week 2, add exercise 3 and 5. But let me make this even easier. If you're having a bad day, you don't skip. You downshift. You do fewer reps. You hold the chair more. You do 1 round instead of 2. Consistency beats intensity every time after 60. And I want to tell you a short story about why this works. A 74-year-old said, "I used to wait until I felt motivated, and that meant I barely did anything." When she switched to a plan that was tiny, she stopped negotiating with herself. She did it even on low energy days. 2 weeks later, she said, "I don't feel younger. I feel steadier." That's the goal. You progress by adding time, not by adding pain. Add 5 seconds to marching, or add 1 rep to bridges, and you're winning. Now, in 2 weeks, your goal is not to look fit. Your goal is to feel safer, to stand up without using your hands, to walk without that "I might trip" feeling, to climb stairs without negotiating with your knees. And here's one more doctor-style truth that matters. Independence is not a personality trait. It's a skill. Skills can be trained. And when you train the right skills, your life gets bigger again. You stop planning your day around fear. Now comment one word that describes your biggest struggle: chair, balance, stairs, or pain. And if you type level, I'll suggest the easiest starting version for you.